over Zoom. And how do you do that? But we did it. We managed it. We got creative in so many different ways. Just spending time together and just getting to know one another and just talking together. Until the time came when we could finally meet, and Sarah came up to Bradford, and then we were stood face to face. And it was a little bit awkward to begin with. I mean, I didn't know what to do. I'd literally never been in this position before. Being in the presence of a girl who actually liked me. But as soon as we got over that awkwardness, and as soon as we got over, the initial strangeness of all of this, Sarah and I, our hopes were met, and we realised that connection that we formed was just as strong, and even stronger in person than it had been over those months. On Zoom, online, on WhatsApp. We had built a foundation, but now we were beginning to build our relationship and our life. And it was indeed a connection that happened at the level of heart, that happened at the level of mind, happened at the level of the faith that we both share, which for us actually is the most important thing.
Amen.
And I'm just so truly blessed, Sarah, and I'm so grateful that connection that we had, that we began to explore and it grew, is now a shared life that we have together. And I thank you. Which wasn't to say that there weren't, perhaps a few jitters and uncertainties along the way. Even at the time that we knew that we were going to take the step forward and get engaged, which really happened only a few months ago, really. It's been a bit of a whirlwind. But even around about that time, as we were both getting excited, Sarah and I had some honest conversations, and she sat down with me and she said to me, "Adam, are you really sure that you want to do this? I mean, you're going to be related to my family." I said, "Honey, they're going to be related to me." Like you said, Chris, it goes both ways. Joking aside, as I said before, it's an honour. And I do joke, but this is a family that I'm so honoured to join. And I'm so honoured that not only has Sarah welcomed me into her life, but your family and your friends and your loved ones have welcomed me into their lives as well. And I couldn't be more grateful. And I'm not going to go on for much longer, except to say that I'm so looking forward to the rest of our lives together. And I'm so looking forward to seeing what other stories and adventures happen from here. And once again, thank you all so much for being here to support us and to be alongside us at the beginning of our lives together. Thank you.
The feminist in me decided that the men should not get all the airtime. Realised I should get some fashion my principles. So, bear with me. But anyway, I just wanted to say thank you to a lot of different people. First of all, just thank you all so much for coming. I know a lot of you travelled a really long way, and we're just also grateful that you're here. The most important thing for us in planning the wedding was to be surrounded by the people that we love. And it's just so overwhelming, to be honest, and just beautiful to be surrounded by so many people that we love and that love us, and it's just amazing. So thank you. Today really could not have been planned in 5 months without a lot of help from a lot of people. And I think the majority of people in this room have helped in some huge way. So just to say thank you so much for everybody that's played a part in making today happen. I'm not going to go around every individual person now because we will never eat dinner. But there are just a few particular people that we So first of all, just want to say a massive thank you to Mum and to Steve. Mum and Steve, well, Mum said to me once we got engaged that she was going to be my lackey for 5 months, and I really made the most of that. So I'm not sure where we're going to be without a lackey now.
I can sleep now.
But honestly, we're so grateful for all of your love and support. And yeah, we couldn't have made today happen without your help. So
Thank you. We love you.
And I also want to say a massive thank you to my dad. It just means so much to me to have you walk by my side today. You're such an amazing support to me, and I'm just so grateful. So thank you. And to Jack as well for making all the beautiful hair pieces. It's really just tops everything off. So thank you. Doing so well. Auntie Jenny, where are you? I think we can all agree. If you don't know, the hall today was Auntie Jenny's vision. I said to Auntie Jenny, please can you help me to decorate? We're going for an autumnal theme. And that is what happened. I had nothing else to do with it, so thank you so much. It was spectacular and it just made it so well. Also want to say a massive thank you to Uncle Andy for making sure we were all well hydrated and able to celebrate with Prosecco, so thank you for that. And a general thank you to our church family as well. You've all been such an incredible support and have all chipped in so many different ways to make today happen. We are so grateful. So thank you. And a particular thank you to John as well. For marrying us. I think that's really hard. Thank you. So just a couple of more things. So to the groomsmen, thank you so much. Your friendship is so valued by Adam and by myself as well. I've grown to love all of you, and just so grateful for you in our lives, and for all that you've done to make today happen as well. And to the bridesmaids, who are incredibly beautiful and autumnal. And again, I'm not very detailed in my specs because again I just said, buy an autumnal dress. And they have managed to do it in a way that actually works. So thank you. But all of you have helped so much and really gone above and beyond today. So thank you. And I'm just so grateful for all of you. So just a little something about my husband as well. And when Adam and I first started talking, I thought Adam was too serious for me. I quickly realised that's not true, although he does take his terrible jokes very seriously. But you are so incredibly sincere, and you love so deeply, care so deeply about everybody around you, and it's such an honour to have you by my side. And you're an inspiration to me every single day, so thank you. You are so kind, so strong, so gentle, you really are my rock, so thank you for being my life. I'm so grateful. And I'm looking forward that's me done. Please drink some more Prosecco. I feel like that's what's supposed to happen now.
I have actually given this speech 3 times already. Once to the West Yorkshire branch of the Flat Earth Society. Freddie Flintoff couldn't make it. Once to the Bradford Royal Infirmary Hemorrhoid Sufferers Ward. A stand-up buffet. And finally, last week in Birmingham at the Tory Party conference. So for those of you who've heard this speech 3 times already, I apologise. I can find it. Get it the right way up. Ladies and gentlemen, before I start, I need to warn you that I don't have a very good track record with best man speeches. In my time, I've managed to upset the mother of a groom to the point that she gave me a dressing down afterwards. And on another occasion, I dropped a joke that got me edited out of the wedding video. I maintain it was a good joke, but that wasn't the majority view. Just how far to push things? These are judgment calls that all best men have to make. Usually to very mixed audiences, different generations, different emotions, and with very different sensibilities. But today, I have a compounding problem to worry about. Because today, as well as being a best man, I'm also a vicar. And as a vicar, I'm best man to a groom who is a vicar. Almost by definition, I can't go dropping bawdy jokes. So what should I do? Should I give you the most boring best man speech you've ever heard? I've been thinking long and hard about this, as the actress said to the bishop. Actually, I did raise this dilemma with my bishop just a few weeks ago. I was at his retirement do, Bishop David of Birmingham. And I said, Bishop, I think I've found a loophole. Adam and I spent hours talking about our shared interest in theology. So what I'm going to do in this best man speech, instead of making my own rude jokes, I'm just going to quote the most ridiculous things that famous theologians have said about love, sex, and marriage. Because believe me, through the centuries, they've said some weird stuff. There's so much of it. The Christian writer Origen, who lived in the 3rd century, he was a funny one. Going back to the story of Adam and Eve, he thought that the serpent had sexually seduced Eve, and consequently, all sex was sinful. Anyway, back to my conversation with Bishop David. He liked my idea about quoting theologians, but I think it's only fair to say, for the reputation of my bishop, I only ran the concept of this speech past him. I never ran the content past him. So let's get into this. I've known Adam for a quarter of Adam's life. We met at theological college and struck up a friendship immediately. And Adam has been a tremendous friend, someone I can trust and confide in, someone I can debate with and talk to. And I know that Adam has been waiting a long time to find the right person. And at times that wait has been frustrating. But the wait for Adam has not been as frustrating as it was for St. Bernard of Clairvaux, who lived in the 12th century. Because Adam always had the hope that one day he would find a wife. But that's not the case for all priests. Some of you might know that the difference between a priest in the Catholic Church and a priest in a Protestant church like the Church of England is that Catholic priests are never allowed to marry and must remain celibate forever. St. Bernard was one of the most famous theologians of his generation. And he was single-minded in his struggle against the sin of lust. He advised fellow priests who were also struggling with lustful thoughts to throw themselves into their nearest thorn bush. I see quite a lot of similarities between St. Bernard and Adam. St. Bernard, let me give you a few similarities, but St. Bernard was a big proponent of community living. He was the abbot and founder of a monastic community which went on to plant 9 other religious communities. And I know that a passion for Adam and also for Sarah has been to open their home to create Christian community, particularly amongst refugees and vulnerable people. Secondly, St. Bernard was also a firebrand preacher. And Adam's preaching doesn't take any prisoners. Those of you who know Adam know how single-minded he is. and how he will attempt to share the gospel with literally everyone, whether they want to hear it or not. There is one thing that St. Bernard achieved, which Adam has not. St. Bernard started a war.
There's still time.
It was St. Bernard's great energy, single-mindedness, and itinerant preaching that launched the Second Crusade, an unholy war against Islam lasting 3 years. From Portugal to Damascus, this crusade is a blot on the history of the church, actually. But I wonder if things might have been different. I come back to St. Bernard's frustrations. He said, and I quote, "To be always with a woman and not to have sexual relations with her is more difficult than to raise the dead. All that wanton killing, pillaging and destruction, and all he really needed was a good woman." Ladies and gentlemen, today the world has become a safer place at the wedding of Adam and Sarah. And thorn bushes up and down Bradford are starting to recover. Just in case you think this is just about male theologians, let me tell you, there were some crazy women out there too. Last week I met our ethics and doctrine tutor from Queen's, Helen, who sends her regards, by the way, and I ran through where I was going with my speech. And Helen said to me, "Tell them about Hildegard of Bingen," a friend actually of St. Bernard's apparently. Hildegard had a very unique method to avoid sexual temptation. But it made me feel a bit ill, so it hasn't made the cut of this speech. You can talk to me later if you're interested. So let's move on. I resist the devil, and it is with a fart that I chase him away, said Martin Luther in the 16th century. Not me. Martin Luther, for those of you who haven't heard of him, is not to be confused with the black civil rights leader of the 20th century, Martin Luther King. A German monk, he was arguably the most important Christian leader in the last 500 years. This theological giant, who started the Protestant Reformation, was one of the reasons why the Church of England separated from the Roman Catholic Church. But for such a great Christian leader, he had an absolutely potty mouth. You can Google later rude jokes from Martin Luther, and most of it would be unacceptable even in a best man speech. As a good Catholic monk, Martin Luther had taken lifelong vows of celibacy, but at the age of 42, he had to wait a bit longer than Adam. He married a 26-year-old nun, and it went really well. He absolutely loved being married. They went on to have 6 children together. Martin Luther was starting to teach that it was through faith that our relationship with God is restored, rather than trying really hard to obey all the rules. And one of those rules that he thought was unnecessary and oppressive was that priests shouldn't be married. Hearing of these radical ideas, Catherine von Bara escaped her convent in a fish wagon, which was a criminal offence in those days, apparently. And Martin Luther married her, which raised a few eyebrows. But it's the reason why Sarah and Adam are allowed to get married today. But Sarah, if you ever get frustrated that you're not making progress on changing Adam's bad habits, because he's got a few, you can draw comfort from the fact that Catherine never managed to tame Luther's potty mouth. Actually, what Martin Luther was trying to get away from with all this farting at the devil talk, he was trying to get away from people jumping in thorn bushes. He was opposing self-flagellation, that's a fact. He was basically saying, stop being so religious, just have faith in Jesus and what he's done for you. I resist the devil, and it is with a fart that I chase him away. And to both of you, I still maintain that this can be an effective way to keep the serpent at bay if you're not feeling in the mood in the morning. Dial it off in it. I spent some really good times with Adam. In 2018, we went on a journey, a trip in which we retraced the footsteps of a biblical journey through Turkey and Cyprus, the Apostle Paul and Apostle Barnabas' first missionary journey that you can read about in Acts chapter 13. On the second day in Cyprus, we were visiting a monastery high up in the mountains. We caught a bus about 15 miles up into these mountains. But on our way out of the monastery, we were dismayed to find out that we'd have to wait for 2 hours for a bus to take us back. And we were on a very tight schedule. The only way we'd get back on track would be to hitch a ride. We looked around the car park, and the only 2 people who looked like they might be about to drive were 2 absolutely stunning Russian girls. Instinctively, we felt that they would think that we had ulterior motives.